Wow, and hello everybody. Welcome to SkyTour Livestream. Hey Jessica and Zadarak, nice to see you guys. The moon is just a mere 20 degrees from this nebula, and look what we're getting anyway. It's just beautiful. I want to welcome Daryl Mason, who's with us tonight. Hi Daryl, how's it going?
Hello Mark, I'm well. You? Hello everybody.
Oh, fine. Just fine.
Good.
Yeah, so this, I figured, hey, I like pushing the limits. The telescope is literally pointing almost at the moon. The moon is visible to the telescope in terms of stray light. But the telescope is actually, literally, as I said, it's merely 20 degrees below or above the nebula. So that's incredible. I'm just really impressed with how this is coming out. Not bad. Look at the detail in here. I mean, we can see detail in this nebula that's always beautiful, in spite of the fact that we have a waxing gibbous moon. That means past first quarter and getting a little larger. Not bad, not bad. I want to say hi, Donald Kunzer's here, and Jackie Jacks. Good to see you guys. And this Daryl guy keeps showing up in the chat. Who's he? Do you know?
No, not yet. I'll figure it out one of these days.
Yeah, right.
I bet there's a warrant out for his arrest, though.
Yeah, maybe in Grand Theft Auto 5, but probably not in real life.
I've never been convicted of a felony.
Notice how he said that, folks. I've never been convicted of a felony. It's an old joke. Oh, yeah. This is beautiful.
We got a tour of the... What was it? It was either the jail for the old police department or the county jail.
Okay.
When I was a Cub Scout, and that scared me straight right there.
Yep.
I've been a good boy ever since.
I had a similar tour, but mine was actually, because I was playing with a BB gun in a way that I shouldn't have, and I didn't mean to. We were shooting bottles off of a fence with no regard to the parking lot full of cars on the other side of that fence. It was a fence that had all the slats, so you couldn't see past it.
Yeah.
But we popped the windshield without even realizing it, and the cops picked us up at my friend's house, and I had another friend who owned this other BB gun I had, and I handed it to my other friend Dave, and we were shooting with the BB guns. And the phone call starts like this: "Hey Dave, you want to shoot BB guns?" "Yeah, okay, all right, I'll come down. I got another one." "All right." So I brought down this other friend of mine's BB gun, and we got taken into the police station after, again, it was totally innocent, and they knew it. And one of the police officers took mine, which is an old Daisy spring-loaded one. And he says, "Yeah, this one's not very powerful." And he points it at the back end of another police officer and shoots him with it. And it bounces off his back end, and he goes, "Hey, cut it out." "Yeah, right, see." He goes, "But this pump one," he's pumping that one. He goes, "Yeah, this one is the one that probably popped the windshield." And then the chief came over to me and said, "Whose gun is that, Marky?" And I said, "Well, the spring one, that's mine, sir. That's my Daisy." And of course, by now my father was down there, and I wouldn't tell him who the other gun belonged to, and because I didn't want to get my friend in trouble for one thing, but for the other reason you're about to hear. So he said, "Tell me who it is," and now the chief of police is getting mad at me, and he's a friend of my dad's. We're all friends. They were all friends. Well, my father grabs a little short hair behind my head and starts pulling on it upwards. He, "Tell him whose it is." And I started to cry, and I said, "It's your son's gun, Chief." And it was. It was his son. It was his son's BB gun. And he goes, and the chief starts swearing. All the police start laughing. And he goes, they go, "Oh, Chief, that's a bad idea. That's bad." And then he's like, "Shut up, shut up." He takes the gun, and he goes, and he starts swearing, and he goes, "I knew this gun was going to be trouble." And he turns around and smashes it on the floor.
Wow.
BBs go everywhere. And then, of course, he looks at me and says, "Pick these up." I go, "Yes, sir." So, of course, I didn't get in any trouble, except by my parents. But, you know, we had to, of course, pay for the damage to the one car that actually got hit with the BB.
Yeah.
But it was actually the chief that had to pay and not me, because my gun couldn't do that kind of damage. It was spring-loaded. You could watch the BB leave the barrel and it starts to immediately drop.
Yeah, that's what we had too.
The Daisy spring-loaded ones?
Yep. It was one of the nicer ones, but it was still spring-loaded. And
Oh, yeah. Wow.
had no zip to take a small bird out, and I did that once, and I felt bad, so I stopped shooting animals after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually, I remember trying to shoot at a bird on a wire one time, and I could never hit it because on a telephone wire, the BB never reached the wire. Maybe the spring was a bad spring. Maybe my dad had replaced it with a weak one. I don't know. But every kid has to have a BB gun, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like in the Christmas Story with a Red Ryder BB gun, you know?
Oh, yeah. You'll shoot your eye out.
You'll shoot your eye out. No, I won't. Ah! And then
They're supposedly making a sequel to that.
Really?
And they're bringing back the guy who played Ralphie. And,
Is he going to be the dad?
I'm sorry?
He going to be the dad?
I'm not too up on the story. I believe it's him as an adult, but they're going to follow the story somehow.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I'd watch that again. A remake. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh,
So
I
just
watch
a-
Christmas Story every year.
Yeah, I bet. It was a good story.
I always had a thing for Melinda Dillon, too. Played the mom.
Oh, okay. I don't remember what she looks like.
The woman who played the little boy's mother in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Oh, that was her?
Yep, same woman.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. So, folks, in case there's any mystery, this is the Rosette Nebula. And just want to let you know, as we talked about, the moon is literally 20 degrees north of it right now. It's sort of north. And it's waxing gibbous, very, very bright in the sky. If I didn't process this like this, you would not see this nebula like this. But the fact that we can see this nebula like this is testimony and testament to the fact that we're using these really, really good filters in the telescope right now in order to bring out this nebula detail. I honestly wasn't sure what we were going to get tonight, but when we get to this point where the moon is past first quarter, you know, where it looks in the sky like it's apparently more than halfway lit, okay, this is a point where we tend to not stream seriously to get like some really cool nebula because it's just not, you know, not conducive to it. But with the filters we're using, as you can see, it is. And the other thing to notice is we're doing a 115-second exposure right now. Right, here's the progress bar down the bottom, and you'll notice the stars are nice and round. That's because I've also figured out, and Daryl was with me when we did this, how to tune the guiding system to actually more properly follow the stars and to keep the stars round. Otherwise, they get oval and elongated. And so that's done. And I did the pre-focusing as well. I did the automatic focusing. So now we have the tiniest of stars are now visible. Whereas in the last several streams where we've done this before, it looks focused, but when you zoomed way in, okay, you wouldn't be able to see little tiny stars like this one, okay, or that one even. They would not be visible because they would just be out of focus enough to be just blurs. And now they're visible, readily visible. So this is pretty good. Not bad for a good tuning on the telescope.
Looks very nice.
Yeah, isn't it nice? I mean, it came out very pretty, and I turned myself red in support of it. I am the color of an emission nebula tonight. Well, it's nice. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad to see you. I see we had another person I thought that was in here that we hadn't seen before. Maybe we did. It's still early. We have a ways to go yet, and we have a night of waiting for people to show up if they want to come check it out, you know. And hey, I'm streaming whether you're watching or not. But this is beautiful.
It is.
Wow. All right, so we stacked 9. We're going to stack 10 of these. Thanks, Jessica S. She says, very pretty. And it's called the Rosette, and it looks like a rose, doesn't it? We know the name. We'll get rid of the name now for a minute. Come here, you. All right, so this is pretty cool. All right, so we did 10, and what I'll do is I will pause this. I will name it up here. So I have to do pausing, naming, and then and we've got Rosette Nebula. Good.
Do you know a rosette is not a rose?
Yeah, that's right. It's not a rose. It's actually a curve. But I don't know. I can't tell you what that curve looks like.
I looked it up a while back. Give me just a second. I'll do it again.
All right.
It's something that looks like a rose, but it's not a rose.
It's like a filigree or something. Okay, there we go.
Rosette, a rose-shaped decoration typically made of ribbon and awarded to winners of a competition.
Oh, that's the thing?
A design, arrangement, or growth resembling a rose.
Well, this sort of looks like the first prize award. Mm-hmm. It's red, right, usually? Or is it blue? Blue ribbon. Uh-oh. Maybe this isn't the winning prize.
It's
That's
nice.
okay. Yeah. Hey, Michael, how are you? Michael Klagus, how you doing as well? Glad you guys are here.
2 Michaels in there.
Yeah, Michael Klagus and Michael. That's why I always say Michael Klagus' last name, so he knows which Michael I'm talking about when we see this.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this is saved, and let's hop out of this. That's good. I'm glad you're doing well, Michael Klagus. See, all you need, Michael, is one of these UHCS filters, and you could image until the moon is, fully gibbous. When it's full moon, it gets a little much, but you could do that.
Can we take a look at the whole thing? Or whoop, it's gone now.
Yeah, I know. I just deleted it by accident, didn't I? But you know what?
Oh well.
No,
it's okay.
It's not gone, actually, because if I minimize this, all right, and come over here, if I just minimize a few things, you're gonna find my sharp captures here, and in 3/12/2022, you're gonna see the Rosette Nebula, and if you want to see it, well, it's going to be in here. And it's already moving up, but here is the FITS file, and then here is that processed image that we just saw. So here's the one you were looking for.
Okay.
So here it is. See that?
Yep, that's nice.
There you go. We got a glow from the moon up there, but that's okay. So you got it?
Yep, thank you.
All right, sure. And that's going to be up on the server here in no time.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to bring this up, and we'll bring up the camera again and get back to our screens. All right. So now we're going to, we're going to get another Rosette image right now, but one without any work being done to it. No stacking. And then we're going to go to 1 second again here and make our make this our beautiful enhanced view, our finder view.
Michael Klages, if you want a telescope for grabbing galaxies, get some aperture. I would say at least 8 inches.
Maybe. Not a bad idea. Alright, we're going to go down to the little Beehive again. Let's check it out. We'll pop out some other clusters too. So we're going to take off now. And you'll see this is the telescope icon here. And you're going to see it start to move. And it's going to move to a star that it's going to use as a waypoint. I call them waypoint stars. And it's going to be, of course, in this case, the star Sirius. And I'm not kidding. And there it is. There's Sirius, of course. And it's doing this centering of Sirius. This is high precision pointing, we call it. And the telescope does that beautifully. There's a few objects in its database that are in error. And we find them. Because we do this so much, we find those little spots. So there's certain things we go to and they're not there, but they're just a couple, arc minutes or degree away. And that's just because, the database was wrong from day one, but we can't change the database because it's a proprietary database that we have no access to. But it's all right. Michael Cleus says, I'm looking at Schmidt-Cassegrains. Yeah, well, if you can afford a Schmidt-Cassegrain, Michael, you can get an 8-inch Celestron. You can get, I know there's some good deals at Orion Telescope and at OPT, but don't do it without getting a UHCS filter. Do not, I'll tell you this, you're familiar with these things, so I'm not trying to lecture you. I would not get a filter that's going to provide you with narrowband stuff yet. I would enjoy the spectacle that your telescope can deliver when you combine 3 narrowbands together, and that's the UHCS filter. That takes the 3 narrowbands of sulfur, oxygen 3, and hydrogen alpha, and it has them as the 3 pass-throughs for the particular filter, and so you get these beautiful objects as it is. A 1K budget, okay, then you're probably not looking at an 8-inch unless you have a mount that can hold an optical tube assembly. Yeah. Then you're just over $1,000 for the 8-inch tube assembly, I would think. And he has a UHC filter.
Well, except for inflation and COVID, prices went up on everything. When I bought my 9.25 Celestron a couple of 3 years ago,
yeah,
I paid right about $1,000 for it, I think.
That's the OTA, the optical tube assembly.
Yeah, I already had a mount for it.
Yeah.
One downside to the Schmidt-Cassegrains is their F ratio, their F10, and that's pretty slow photographically. You can get focal reducers for them. For the F10s, Celestron sells an F6. It's a 6.25 reducer, gets you down to f6.25, and if you can afford the Edge series, they're more expensive tube assemblies, but they have much better focal reducers, which will get you down to f7.
And the Edge HD is a good one.
Yeah, they're more expensive, but they're much better telescopes than the standards.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to do a focus here. I'm going to do a focus scan to autofocus the telescope. So we're going to scan in, so you'll watch the focus range change. I'm not doing it, the telescope's doing it. And it's going to pick, of these stars it sees, it's going to sample these values at every step. And it's going to end up coming up with the best possible focus. It's going to build a little equation, and you'll see that those triangles represent points on the equation. Those little the end of the triangle point is the actual point. And so it shows you where it is right now, like right there. You can see it right there. That's where it is. All right. And then as it builds a parabola out of this curve, as it goes in and out again, the bottom of that parabola will have a second line show up momentarily, and it's probably going to be right around here, and it's going to say, oh, this is the best spot. There it is right there. This is the best position so far that we've calculated, and the more points you use, the better the result. I chose to drop it from 13 down to 11, and as you can see, it's out of focus now, but that's okay because it's at the other end, and you can see on the left end of the curve there, it says that's the current position, and the center is the best position. And now it's completed, and now I say, okay, click this and go to the best position for me, and now it's going to go all the way across and then come all the way back. So there it goes, all the way across, then all the way back to the best focal position. Boom. And now we have a very, very well focused telescope. Alright, and that's very cool. So we're looking at a very good way in order to capture our objects, because now we have a consistent way of focusing the telescope very well, something we did not have just a few weeks ago. Okay, so now that that's done, I can get rid of it, and I'm gonna hit this T-core button right here. What's that? Well, as the temperature cools out in the building, the focus will change as objects contract, and telescopes shrink in a semi-normal way, constant way. So as the focus changes, the telescope will correct the focus down, and it's pretty cool to watch that happen over time. You don't have to make nearly as many focus changes. For instance, if you go to a star party and they bring in another object into the scope, they don't just focus it once. They focus it each time they bring an object in. They focus it again and again and again. And that's just because the telescope changes focus with temperature. It's nice not to have to do that, and we're not doing that. Alright, so let's do our auto view, because we're looking at the little beehive. Look how beautiful that looks. Let's do a 25-second photo of this, and then get rid of our hybrid view. Oh, we got a satellite that's going to be in there too. Right through the center of the cluster. Thank you, Starlink. That looked like a Starlink moving through.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to clear it as soon as it comes in, because it looks like it's going to be starting in the middle of the cluster. Let's see what we got. Oh, did we miss it? Maybe it was late. Let's find out. Oh no, it's not. There it is. Zoop. Okay. So we'll clear that one. If I was going to stack a whole lot, as I mentioned before, the stacking process eliminates the one-time errors like a streak, because what's really here is dark space, see? And so that just keeps getting added and added and added back to the image, and that one light streak ends up getting dimmed out little by little over time. Hi there, Renee Cruz. Good to see you. We've been waiting for you, Renee. Okay, and I'm going to get rid of some of the noise here. And to do that, we're going to take our black level over a little bit, like this. Shibe NBS, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for coming again. It's good to see you again, actually. And then we'll just drop this a little bit. Soften it all up. Okay, we've stacked 3 so far. Again, this is the little beehive. So that's what I'm going to call it. The little beehive. Okay, but maybe I should do it in English this time. Did you ever have your hands on the wrong keys on the keyboard and just go typing for a while?
Constantly. I need a new keyboard. You know, there's little nubs
Oh yeah, yeah.
index your fingers on, and to get into position for 10-finger typing. And
Yeah.
they're worn right off on my keyboard.
Yeah, I've added them back with little dots of super glue.
Yeah, I should do something of this sort.
It's that simple. Renee Cruz says she wants to see a UFO. I don't blame you. You know, we saw satellites, and technically that's a UFO, Renee, because we don't know what satellite is. Hi, Papa Tom. We don't know which satellite it is, but it's all right. You know, we actually have seen some objects that we don't understand here as well, Renee. And there's nothing wrong with saying you want to see a UFO at all. I like it, actually. Let me see if I can show you something. I showed folks before, but I think I'll bring it up again. Yeah, this is the one. Okay.
Yep,
There
we
are-
looked at that last night.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to show them again because just Renee wanted to see a UFO. This is what we caught. Besides this giant spider, this is actually at the site with our all-sky camera that we have out there. And I showed this last night. Giant spider attacking Phoenix. That's the lights of Phoenix. In the eyes of a sensitive camera, you can see it. In the eyes of a camera that is not sensitive, you won't see that. In those eyes, your eyes can't see it. But then there's this curve. And this was from a video, a night video that played all night, or captured images every 24 seconds all night long. The 24 is actually right there. You can see it right here. 24 seconds. All right. And it caught this curve. And on the frame before it, it had the rest of the curve. So something circled up there that I cannot explain. It's not a meteor. It's nothing natural. Because the curve, it was a perfect circle. And I don't know what it was that did that. So it's truly an anomaly. So we do catch things, Renee. We do. And that's proof right there. You know? But here, look at this. This is now, again, as I said, a little beehive. And we've stacked about 10 of these. Let's go ahead and check it out at, say, 66% magnification. And that magnification, by the way, what that means is that when we do a fit to the screen, we're fitting the entire width of the sensor, the entire height of the sensor in a frame so you can see it. So it's shrunk down. It's still shrunk down here. The native size, the size that the sensor wants to be, is this right here. When I show you, there it is. That's the native size of the sensor. We still have a lot of room all the way out to this side and a lot of room all the way out to the other side. All right, and the same up and down. Okay, so the thing is that if I showed you just this, you'd be missing all the rest of what's in this actual view. I know, right, Renee? That curve is crazy. Yeah, and you know what? Renee mentions the Phoenix lights. You know, I'm good friends with Dr. Lynn Katai, who's the one who talks about the Phoenix lights all the time. And in fact, she just called me the other day. And Lynn was showing me her pictures and so forth at a conference once, and we're sitting down together. And I said, well, I had my own Phoenix lights when I was out in the desert. I was photographing Orion in a T-shirt and shorts. Okay? Orion's a winter constellation for people up in the northern United States, northeastern. But I was actually in a T-shirt and shorts and photographing Orion. And while I was doing that, fighter jets flew over and dropped flares, and left these beautiful parachute flares descending slowly. And I took photographs of it. And I saw what looked like the Phoenix lights to me. But when I talked to Lynn about it, she's like, no, that's not the Phoenix lights. And I go, no, ease off, Lynn. I'm not saying that they were just flares, because the military did do a flare drop later that same night. So could have been confused. You can't say no. You know, it's a possibility. However, people all over Arizona saw this boomerang-shaped set of lights going over the entire state in Nevada and California. So something happened. Something strange happened. No doubt.
They drop flares here pretty
Yeah.
regularly out at
Yeah.
the army base south of town. And people freak out every time that happens. Oh my God, what was that?
Yeah. Well, when the sounding rockets launched and they put these beautiful, you know, 4 dots in the sky that look like literal dots of light in the sky, people would think that what is that? You know, Scheiben wants to see the Pleiades, and you know what? We always take requests, but let's go see where the Pleiades are right now. If we're gonna look at them, we gotta look at them early on, Scheiben, because if we don't, they're going to. We should be able to see them. Okay, here they are, right here. We'll get off this cluster and run to the Pleiades for you, because let me just make sure we have altitude here. And we do. I'm glad you mentioned it now. I'm glad you mentioned it now. All right, let's go. We've got, what, 15 stacked here? Let's go back and see. 19 stacked. Okay, that's enough. And this is the little beehive. Look at the colors. Isn't that pretty? So we'll pause it, and we'll save it. And that's the raw file saved to the database, where you can get it moments from now. And then we're going to save it exactly as seen. You can get this beautiful image, blow it up, put it on your desktops, and if it's all free. I don't charge a dime for these. I want you to have access to the night. Okay, so that's done. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Pleiades. All right, so I will put the name in here, Pleiades. All right, and let's head over to the Pleiades, shall we? First things first, let's go back and get a 1 second exposure here. All right. And let's go into our hybrid finder mode, which is this guy right here. And then let's drop our sensor down to auto mode, where we can actually fill the screen with a full sensor. See how big the cluster is here? Now watch how small it gets, because we're going to see the entire field of view we have. That's 4 full moons across and 3 full moons tall. That's how much room we've got here. All right. Now, let's, first of all, let's go and get on the Pleiades there, and let's tell the telescope to go there. So off we go into the wild blue yonder. And this box is the shape of our field. Okay, that box. And that's on the Pleiades right now. The telescope is heading over there, and if you look over my head, you can see the telescope in the building. It's actually leaning way over because it's looking to the west. All right. And it's doing high precision slewing here, and it's going to tell us in a moment what star it's going to center on as a waypoint star. All right, it's obviously that star you see there, but it's going to be Zeta Persei. Okay, and it's going to center it up, and then as a waypoint, it's going to then use that as a waypoint and head over to the Pleiades. And you'll see them beautifully in here. So now that it's going to be centered here, it says it's auto centering. All right, and then off it goes.
Yep.
And there's the Pleiades.
Once we do the Pleiades, while we're in this part of the sky, we should do the Crab too.
Why not? It's just kind of below it a little bit. All right, let's get back to that. All right, let's get our control back, and let's now bring the Pleiades into view. Renee, there is, as far as we know, there's no Nibiru, and planet number 10 in the solar system, the 10th planet, basically, because I do think Pluto's a planet, sorry, in that camp.
Heck yes.
Yeah. I've mentioned this before. I talked to the man who found Pluto, Clyde Tombaugh, little, small, diminutive, old man back when I met him. And we sat and talked about finding how he found Pluto and everything. And to him, it was not a big deal because he found many objects. He didn't find just Pluto, but Pluto was the most famous one. So here is the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters. This is Alcyone right here. I forget where Pleione is. This is Merope. You can see fuzz around this too. This is Maya. Okay, Maya has a nebula around it. Merope has a nebula, and the entire Pleiades are bathed in nebula. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, we have to take an exposure of some time. So we're going to take a 45-second shot of the Pleiades here. All right. And we'll get out of our hybrid mode and go into our live stack. And let's go clear this. Donald Kunzer says, Mark, I fell asleep around 30 minutes after you started last night. I replayed this stream this morning. The last thing you had on the screen was M105 and more. You show that again? I don't know if we're going to be going that long, Donald, tonight. Leo is still a little bit low for us tonight, but we did start later. But we'll see. I can't promise that, but it's possible. Right now, let's get the Pleiades just to show what we're talking about. You'll see these nebulae very brightly here. Yeah, there they are. Look at those nebulae. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually enhance this so you can see that. So let's do a dynamic enhancement here. Okay, there we go. And color correction looks like we're just fine right now, maybe. And let's watch this develop. I know, Renee, isn't it? It's just so beautiful. Hey, Ebeman, how you doing? EBE man. Extra biological entity man. Yep. I love the Pleiades as much as my wife Lorraine loves your presentation.
Lorraine rings a bell.
I think so. EBE man, are you someone I know?
What's her username, Ebeman?
He'll come in. He'll let us know. Yes, Shibin BS. What do you think? It's still coming in. There's a lot more nebula here than meets the eye, and we'll see if we can pull it out for you. Lorraine's birthday party tonight. I gave her a dozen roses. Oh, that's so nice. And all of a sudden you show the rosette. You mean okay. So EBE man is actually a friend of mine. That's Lee, I believe. Am I correct, EBE man? So, Shibin, I hope you like the Pleiades so far. These halos around them are because they're so bright. I usually get rid of the halos later on in post-processing for everybody. But let's... Yep, okay. Okay, EBE man is my friend Lee. You know him as Lee Spiegel, who is the guy who worked with James Fox on the Phenomenon movie, and who is very good friends with Jacques Vallée, who has put me in touch with Avi Loeb's Galileo Project group, and I will be meeting with them soon. So there's Lee used to be a editor at the Huffington Post in New York City, and he has spent years, working on the UFO problem, trying to solve it, trying to figure out. Oh, look at that! We got ourselves an interloper. Trying to solve the UFO enigma. He's been at the United Nations, giving a presentation at the United Nations on UFOs. He has done a huge amount of work in the UFO field. So I can't let that go without, I can't let him be here without, acknowledging all that. He's a very unique human.
Has he been at Pine Bush before?
yes, he'll be there this year as well. So if you guys are interested, Pine Bush, New York's conference, Lee is speaking. I'm speaking. At least I think that's what's happening. And then we have a couple other people that are going to be speaking as well. Hopefully including Katie Grabowski, who was on with us yesterday. And so we'll see how that all goes. Renee says, yes, I know Lee, Bill, and Race, KJ That's right. Yep. And Renee, you know us, of course, from KJ as well, with Sky Tour Radio. Sky Tour Livestream, Sky Tour Radio. All things Sky Tour. Okay, so this right here. Now you can start to see more detail in this part of the nebula. Look at how more gossamer this looks. Oh, and Lee says, don't you know I have solved the UFO issue? You mean the UFO enigma? I am sure you have. And Lee, please tell people when Edge of Reality, your show on KGRA, airs. It's on Thursday nights, but you tell people the details so they have it in print here in the chat, will you? I've been on Lee's show a lot, and he likes to hear the latest astronomy stuff. I actually do these things for a lot of people. A lot of people want to hear the latest in astronomy. And there's just some cool stuff. I have to talk to our town here. In fact, they would like an astronomy presentation, so hopefully I can arrange something for them as well. Let's try to stretch this data, guys. That means bring these two lines closer together and pull out more data that might be visible in here. It's going to get brighter for a second.
Whatever made that streak sure is red.
Yeah.
You wonder if that's something besides a satellite.
It's certainly not a plane. What it could be, on the other hand, this could be a satellite, a rare satellite that's going to the west and came in. No, actually, it would have been here for the other exposures. It could have gone. Actually, it's red, possibly red because it was in its sunset mode. It saw sunset from its point of view. So it was red and then faded out, and we didn't see it the rest of the way. That I've seen. Okay, Edge of Reality is on every Thursday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time on KGRA. And it's really a great show. And Lee has a great radio speaking voice, I have to tell you. To listen to him is soothing and so forth. For people that say that they like listening to Sky Tour Livestream, you'll like Sky Tour Radio as well, for sure. But you'll love Edge of Reality. Lee does not pay me for that, although he should. I'm kidding. So here in the Pleiades, Scheiben especially, you can see this star here is called Mira, and this is the nebula. Did I say Mira?
You did.
Why does that not sound right to me? This is Merope and the Merope Nebula.
Mira
Maya.
is,
Maya. This is Maya. Why did I say... Where was I going in my head?
Mira's
a
Cetus, isn't it?
It's a variable. Yeah. That's right. Live as hell, Nay. Exactly so. And for anyone who has any doubts, yeah, you're looking at live stuff, without a doubt. Okay, and you can see this Maya Nebula right here. It's a real... Actually, why don't we just zoom in? Because we can. Actually, let's do it this way. All right, we'll just zoom in. All right, here we go. So as you zoom in now, okay, this is not a halo. This is an actual nebula that's around this star. And so is this stuff here and all this stuff here. And when the moon is out, we get an artifact in our sensor that this blanket of white streaks is not there. But it's only there when the moon is out. And because the moon is in this region of the sky, relatively speaking, it's gonna cause us problems. So I have yet to figure that out. When I go out there, I'll figure it out. I don't remember the Pleiades stars. I remember. I think this is. Is this Atlas out here?
I forget.
And
I can't keep them all
Alcyone.
straight.
Okay, let's look at it. Let's do this. Let's do this. All right. We've got in my view here. Oh, Lee, what are you talking about? I humble you. No way, man. You're just really good. All right, so this looks. I think this is Atlas. I think this is Alcyone. I think this is Merope. That might be Tegeta or Tegeta, and this might be Maya. Now let's go see if I'm right. We'll come in here, and now let's look in and see, because we have them here. Okay, Alcyone, Merope, Electra, Seleno, and Maya. Okay, so, and there's Tegeta out there. So Tegeta's out there, but it's Electra. And what's the one outside now? Pleione. Duh. Oh no, Atlas. Atlas and Pleione. They're right there. Okay. So we come back here now. This is Atlas and Atlas and Pleione, right there. Alcyone, Merope, Electra, Maya, and Tegeta. Seleno. There, Daryl. See, now we got it. Yep.
It'll come right back out the other ear here pretty quick for me.
Hey.
I can't keep them straight. Thank you, Parva.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sean Farva is here. Do professional analysts get to use their own probes? Well, I am. So, I guess the answer is sometimes. And to those of you watching here, and you too, Shivan, if you look here, you can see there's modeling now in this part of the nebula that's showing up. This is really stunning. And what it means is when we actually do processing later, if we do that, you'll actually see this amazing detail that blows up in here when we just process this. And Anahata 77, Bonnie, hi. We are at the Pleiades. If you look at the telescope, it's actually leaning way over because we're leaning way into the west. But now let's pause this right now, and I'll save it. Why not? Okay, and we'll save it. We'll save it exactly as seen. There's our raw file that's saved, and we'll save it exactly as seen, and then we'll clear this and go to another object that Daryl called for earlier.
Yeah, we're in the neighborhood.
Yeah, we're in the neighborhood. Why not? All right. And then we're gonna go off of a 45-second and go down to a 1-second exposure, and then do our enhanced view right there. Boom. Okay, let's do it this way. Oh, it didn't kill the live stack. I gotta kill the live stack. I thought I had. Okay, now I killed the live stack, and there we go. Okay, now while we're here in this neighborhood, we're going to go to a wonderful object which I'm happy is still out for us to see. In 1054 AD, Chinese astronomers noticed this new object in the sky. It was a star seen in the daytime sky, like we see our sun because it's so bright. But this star was extremely bright, and it lasted for months. And when they looked at it later on, they discovered that there was a new star in the night sky when nighttime rolled around when it had the season had to progress. And what they saw was this amazing sight. And that amazing sight was this new star in the sky, as I said. But what they ended up seeing only in later years was that something was expanding away from that object. And what it was a cloud, basically, of debris. And it ended up that it was called the Crab Nebula. And the Crab Nebula is the remnant of, fantasy got it, a supernova, an exploding star. All right. So now we're going to go here. And I've told the telescope now to initiate a transfer over to the Crab. You'll watch the telescope move a little bit up there. There you go. All right. It's going to move to a star. And at star, what's kind of funny, it's going to move to a star that's in the same field. And when it does, you'll actually probably see the Crab Nebula up in this upper right corner. Let's see if it does it. When it moves the star in, okay, Zeta Tau, there's the Crab right there. Right? So it's actually going to go to that in a moment. This is kind of funny. All right, let's, here we go. We'll bring this dark level down here a little bit. Let me just pull that up. So there's the Crab right there, and it just looks like a little fuzzy patch to our eye, right? But that's temporary, because as soon as we get this centered up, all right, move the telescope south a little bit, center it up in the view. All right, we can do some pretty amazing things here. Now, of course, the Crab Nebula is only, well, it's 58 degrees above the horizon right now. From this point of view, you can see that right here in the telescope. Tells you where it is. And 533 is the right ascension. 2143 is the declination. Right ascension is the east-west coordinate, and it's given in hours. So 360 degrees divided by 24 hours yields 15 degrees per hour. So every hour, 15 degrees of sky goes by. And so we label the sky in hours, 0 to 23, 59, etc. All right, let's do a 45-second shot of this. And let's get rid of our hybrid view and go into our stack. And while it's stacking, I will clear the stack, and I will put in the object we're looking at, which is Measure 1, the Crab Nebula. Oh, I hate it. There's 1 second delay. Starlink is on site out there, but we can't hook into it yet because we need another piece of equipment, which is coming. All right. So now watch. Here comes the Crab Nebula. Ho doggies, look at that. That's really pretty. Now, it may not look too exciting right now until we do some processing and color correction. But you're going to see some really interesting data that makes itself evident here. One of the things that's going to happen, of course, is that the nebula is going to, and the noise is going to be removed. See this? I mention this every time, this color modeling. See the different coloring in here? Okay, as this band approaches, as the progress bar goes, watch the color go away. Okay, so ready? 1 second, and I'll watch all this modeling. Boom, cut in half, and the detail comes out. I mention this just so you know, every night when we do this, each of these images are stacked. We're stacking images on top of each other. We take a picture and align it with the previous picture, and then stack them on top of each other. We make an image sandwich. We do that because of the fact that we actually want to bring the data up to the surface and let the noise, like the blackness of space where there's no data, just average away. If there's dark nebula, the dark nebula's data that will show itself to the surface as well. Genghis, welcome. Thanks for coming. So this is the Crab Nebula, and as you can see, it's got a interesting set of colors all its own. And as time goes on, we keep doing some color correcting, and we'll get a more correct color rendering. This is a good one right here. And then one thing we can do is we can move our black level, which is this vertical bar, a little bit to the right to help subdue some of that noise. This might have been too much. Let's find out. No, not really. That's not bad. Go a little more even. Yeah, it is like Magic Renee. I guess we make it look easy, right? So cool. And then what I'll do is I will take the white level, this is actually the mid level, and I'm going to drag it down just a bit, because we're not going to lose too much detail with the crab. The crab is actually quite bright, as faint as it is. Look at that. These filaments now you see are the filaments that were in this in the star's outer envelope, the outer gas envelope in the star. And when the star exploded, then differential mechanisms that we can't really reconstruct, were responsible for causing some filaments to form and some cloudiness to form and some expansions to form in certain ways. The star didn't really blow up evenly, and they usually never do. And when they expand out into the interstellar medium like this, they're expanding into stuff. Space isn't empty, it's got stuff in it. And so when the objects expand into space, they collide with it. And so that's probably the reason why we see filaments in some places, because stuff is slowed down like a snowplow and, pushed up against each other and form these large, bright filaments. And that happens with a lot of other remnants that we see.
You can see the neutron star in the center now.
Yep.
That's what's energizing the nebula.
That little tiny guy right there. In fact, let's zoom in more to show you that. It might get a little noisy in here, but it'll be all right. Okay, so you see that little tiny guy? This is the Crab Nebula. The Crab Nebula is thousands of light years away. You're seeing it as it was thousands of years ago. It is, of course, expanded greatly since then. And over time, we'll see this happen as the light train reaches us. But that little pulsar, that little tiny star in the middle, is a neutron star, the remnant of the supernova, as Daryl just told you. And it's rotating 33 times per second. The whole star rotating 33 times per second. But it has a hot spot on its surface of radiation, and it flashes us like a lighthouse beacon 33 times per second. And Daryl has shown us videos before and put them up showing that pulsar blinking when they slow down the imagery. And if we could do it at high speed, we could show you that. We can't do the high speed camera, but it would actually work, and we could show you, and you'd actually see it blinking.
When you see that neutron star, that mass is more than our sun does, but it's actually it's about the size of Manhattan Island.
That's right. So think about the size of Manhattan. Think about an object thousands of light years away, and there it is. You see the round object. That has to be an exceedingly bright object for that to actually be seen. I'm glad
That's
you... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I said I'm glad you mentioned the Manhattan Island thing. I didn't say it in hopes that you would throw it in too, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, and the way of things when stars go supernova, that's one step away from a black hole, that neutron star right there. If it was any bigger, any heavier, it would have turned into a black hole instead of a neutron star.
And we wouldn't see it this way. We would see a very different nebula.
Mm-hmm.
Not because the black hole would suck it up, but we wouldn't see something in the center like that. I'm going to do another color correction to get rid of some of this red. Let's see if it does it. If it doesn't, I'll do it manually. There we go.
I was watching.
That's nice.
That's nice. I was watching an Anton Petrov video a day or two ago. He talked about what may be a new form of astronomical object called a Blitzar. And he says it's an object that is right on the edge between being a neutron star and a black hole. It's massive enough that it should become a black hole, but it's a neutron star that is spinning so fast that its spin is the only thing keeping it from collapsing into a black hole. Had you ever heard that before, Blitzar?
I haven't heard the term, but I've often, in astronomy, we've wondered as colleagues and friends talking about those border lines, those actual borders. We call them boundary conditions, and the boundary conditions, at the point where a neutron star is just about the mass for a black hole, what would it take for it to collapse further, or what would it take for it to actually become a neutron star? And could a black hole evaporate enough mass for it to actually become a visible object of some kind? Could it go the other way? And I think the answer is no, it can't. It'll just do the evaporation process. Black holes evaporate, guys, just so you know. They're not around forever. But they do last for billions upon billions upon billions of years, unless they're small. Small black holes will evaporate. And in the early universe, there were a lot of black holes created early on, and they evaporated. Some of them evaporated down to very small amounts, very small black holes, mass-wise, But these are just, those are somewhat rare, although they say that maybe micro black holes have been around since the beginning of time.
He said that in the case of a Blitzar, where it is so close on the line between neutron star and black hole, and again its spin is the only thing keeping it from collapsing, you get some neutron stars, like Marc mentioned, the Crab here is its neutron star is spinning 30 times a second or so.
Yeah.
That you get some neutron stars that are spinning thousands of times per second, and that's what it would take to be in a Blitzar. And neutron stars do tend to slow down over time. I think it was because of their tremendous magnetic fields, like magnetars.
They do have the tidal forces within the star can cause them to start slowing down as they fight their own atmospheres, the outer envelope of stuff around them.
And that if this Blitzar neutron star does slow down, that it will turn into a black hole.
Yeah.
It'll just go poof like that. It's gone.
Yeah, Farva says, how many times per second? Well, actually, Farva, this one here, this little dot is spinning at 33 times per second. But guess what? That's not the record. The record of an actual neutron star we can see the spin is over 700 times per second. Now remember, an object that's spherical. Okay, the diameter of Manhattan Island, as long as Manhattan Island is, was it 24 miles, 25 miles? That's how big in diameter, and that's a sphere. That's all around, and that whole thing is spinning 700 plus times per second. There's got to be a lot of mass, and see, that pulsar is the one, Daryl, that actually made me think, if that was any more massive, would it collapse into a black hole, or should it be a black hole now? What's the mass of that one? Maybe that's supposed to be a black hole, and is that the Blitzar type thing you're talking about? Maybe, I don't know. Certainly not. There's another one out there that's, got the record, I'm sure. But neutron stars are massive. You got to keep in mind that these are very massive stars when they were just stars, with gas envelopes and doing fusion. And once they went supernova, they became this ultra compact core. And 1 teaspoon of that stuff, 1 teaspoon, it was about that much, say about that much stuff, here on Earth would weigh billions of tons. Teaspoon.
But
if you dropped it on the ground.
Yeah. If you had that in Earth conditions, that one spoonful of neutron star, well, there'd be nothing to hold it together, and it would explosively decompress.
Well, of course.
Probably blow the Earth to smithereens.
It'd certainly do a number on wherever it fell, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No question. Okay, well, we've done 17 of these. And I've got our title in, so we're going to pause this now. And we'll save our Crab Nebula. That's beautiful, isn't it? Thank you, Sean. All right.
Can we zoom in on that before we go?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
I'm going to save it exactly as seen, and I will not remove the stack at this point. It's paused though. All right, so let's zoom in now and check it out.
So much detail inside this. So much going on.
Yeah, look inside here at these filaments.
And as usual, the different colors represent different elements.
Yeah.
That you get the sense that things have been happening there as the nebula expanded.
Yep. Now, one of the things that we talk about often is how this green tinge you see is oxygen 3, which is O3, O-I-I-I, Roman numeral 3. That's doubly ionized oxygen. And that's because O1, and whenever you have a Roman numeral 1 next to an atom, which was left off most of the time, that's an atom that has all of its electrons. If you send one off, it's, usually you add a Roman numeral to it. So it's like O2 is a singly ionized oxygen atom. O3 is a doubly ionized oxygen atom. Hey, Daisy and Zoe. I don't think I said hi to you. I'm sorry. So, that said, the red part here, this is hydrogen emission most likely, and other materials. There's tons of stuff in here that is able to glow from the light of this highly ultraviolet, ultra powerful little lighthouse down here. And this is out many light years away. I just yawned. Can you see that? I can't believe I just yawned. Why do I yawn?
Oh my God.
I know, right?
Your focus looks a bit soft.
Yeah, I'll have to refocus. Because look where we're aimed. We might have a bit of wind affecting the stack here. Mm. So we'll go and do a focus run again.
Where is here?
Who's here?
Vera?
Oh, yeah. I said hi to her before. Was she here before?
That's the first I've seen of her.
Okay.
No, just below where Farva contributed $5, Vera says hello to all from Brazil.
Okay.
So I guess she
Vera,
just showed
sorry.
up.
I guess I just I saw you, Vera, and I thought maybe that maybe I was thinking of last night when you were here. I'm glad you like it though, Vera. Okay, okay, first things first. We got rid of the zoom. I'm sorry. We got rid of the stack. So now what we can do is go back to our 1 second hyper view, okay, which I call it, the enhanced view. And that's how much noise we're seeing in the sensor. Of course, a lot of that is moonlight. And so when we come out of this now, Okay, here's our typical view, and we could try doing our focus run again, but in order to do that, actually, I like to actually put it out of focus so that so I can have it go where it needs to go, make it go in. See, I've been going out of focus and it doesn't look that bad, does it? But I've gone further out of focus and I'll make it go even more. Oh no, it won't. It hasn't looked bad because it didn't take off the temperature compensation. Now when I do it, you'll see it. Okay, not that much, but it's there. It's out of focus. There we go. And now we do the tools and do the focus here, focus assistant. And this is a multi-star full width half maximum measurement, it's called. And it's going to pick stars in the field, and it's going to focus using those stars. So we're going to scan, and you'll watch it develop here. And the idea, as I mentioned before, is to make a parabola, make a curve, out of focus, in focus, and then out of focus again. And I dropped it from 13 to 11 steps because that seems to be working okay. And there's the whole view, and it picks stars and it does measurements, refocuses, and measures the stars. Okay, currently it's right here. And as the curve gets longer, it shrinks it to fit it in the view. See, it's shrinking it with each point. The new point appears right here. All right. And you'll notice the curve has started to bend a little. All right. And it's going to continue to bend as it goes into focus and then out of focus the other way. And there we go. We got our out of focus the other way. The more curve points you have, the sharper the focus becomes.
Mark, while you're doing that, would you excuse me, please?
Of course.
Be right back.
Okay. Okay, so now it's completed and we have our complete focus curve here. You'll notice that this is the current position it's in, and it's not in focus. And here is the best focus point right there. So what we'll do now is we tell it, go to the best position you found, the best focus. And it goes all the way across and then all the way back. So watch now. It's going to go all the way across up to there and then come all the way back. And you'll see the stars get ultra sharp. Boom. Now we have an ultra sharp, ultra focused image. That's the new addition we put in. I added it. It's a feature built into this system, but I now started to use it. Learned all about it. Figured it out. Because I just want you to have the best. Oh, did I say Pixar or pick stars? I probably said pick stars for sure, because this was picking stars. All right. So now that we've done that, are you guys having a good time so far? It's not bad with nearly a waxing gibbous moon, but we're getting an awful lot of detail out of everything we're looking at thanks to these nebulae filters that we use. All right. And let's zoom out of this now. And let's... Well, for me to make a check on something first. There goes a satellite. Zoom. 1 second exposure makes a... It's probably a Starlink satellite. Okay, first things first. I want to actually center us up. Let me make sure we're centered. So let's bring up our reticle, and now we're gonna move this over a little bit. Not gonna take much. Okay. There we go. Okay. And 53409. And let's go see. And where are we here? 53431, which is close enough for what we're doing. 213924, the coordinates. And the declination coordinates are 22 22. Okay. I could probably synchronize that. So let's just do that. We'll do 05. I'm going to actually synchronize the telescope with the Crab Nebula right there. 05, 34, 31. All right, and then I'm going to go to 22, 0052. And we should, when I hit sync now, we should be able to see the new coordinates appear over here. And they did. Okay. And as you can see, the telescope crosshairs now is right on the nebula. So our telescope, our planetarium, and the Crab Nebula are all aligned with each other. Don't worry. If wherever you click on here, it moves it. So the truth is, when I bring it back, you'll see it's there. See? Boom. So there. All right. So our telescope is all fully aligned and set up. I love when things go the right way. All right. Now we'll pull out of here. And let's head... where do I want to go now?
Where do we want to go now?
I'm trying to think. I mean, we're actually kind of near the Flaming Star, but it's high enough. That's kind of a... It'd be an interesting nebula to capture in the middle of the waxing gibbous moon now. We could also go to Messier 35. There's so many places to go. What shall we do? It's kind of crazy, isn't it? I'm going to go to the Flaming Star.
Okay.
What were you going to say? No, what were you going to say? What do you want to try?
No, Flaming Star is great.
Okay, we'll go there. It's going to tilt the telescope far back.
I was going to say M35 when you suggested it, but, you know.
I think we'll go there next.
Clusters are nice when the moon is bright, but
Yep.
clusters kind of all look the same after a while.
Yeah. Hey, Vera, thank you. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. Okay, this is Hasala. We're centering. And from there, we're going to go to the Flaming Star Nebula in the constellation Aurigae.
Aurigae the Charioteer.
Exactly so. All right. And you'll see the nebula appear here kind of as a fuzzy thing. And it looks like that's it.
I still want to know why the Charioteer is carrying a bunch of goats.
Well, I thought that Aurigae was actually a shepherd.
Nope. That's Boötes.
I know, but I also want to know why, if he's a charioteer, right, what are the goats for, as you said?
Yep.
I wonder if it's a cultural confusion that has persisted.
I've looked this up before. I don't remember. I can look it up again if you really want to know. I think some of it, you know, Capella, the bright star
Yes.
at his left
Yep.
shoulder, that's the goat star.
Yeah.
And the goat star may predate the Charioteer. You know how some constellations and stars are really ancient.
Yes.
By their naming.
Yep. Okay, we're clearing this, and we're going to call this the Flaming Star Nebula.
Let me find out.
Okay. There it is. And Flaming Star Nebula is an emission nebula and it's a reflection nebula, all in one. Two nebulae in one. All right. Yep, that's the Flaming Star. And so what we're going to do, and of course, we're going to process this just a little bit and get rid of some of the green. There we go. This is a major emission nebula in Aurigae. If you'll notice, it's huge. There's a lot going on here. But you'll notice that the center has a strange blue tint to it, and as we lose some of the noise, right, with successive exposures, we're going to see what's going on there. The Flaming Star, I've never seen now that we have hypercritical focus capability. You know, so this is going to be kind of neat to see how it actually looks. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to sneak up our black level to our peak. And that's going to help kick off some of the detail for us. And then I'm going to sneak this down just a tad. And that's going to help darken everything up. And there is our Flaming Star. Very nice. Yep. What did I miss about Vera? Congratulations to your niece. What did I miss, Daryl?
She's at, I think, her niece's birthday party or something.
And she's watching our stream now? Vera, what are you doing?
She can't hear us, but she can see us.
Well, she can't hear us?
She's on her phone.
Oh.
She can't hear over the noise of the party.
Okay, I'm going to type something to her.
And PG is here.
Hey there, Petita. Nice to see you. You'll notice our image is developing rather nicely here, you know.
Uh-huh.
I thought Vera could hear me all along when I said, hey, Vera, you know, but she's not hearing it. Hello, PG. It looks like I am speaking at Pine Bush, by the way, just so you know. Oh, they're celebrating that she became a lawyer. Okay, I gotcha.
Congratulations to Vera's niece.
Excellent, PG. Irene Woody gonna come up to Pine Bush then? You gonna drive your Dodge Ram? All right. Okay, so let's zoom in on this a little because there's something really interesting going on in here that needs to be seen. All this beautiful red nebula. Let me get rid of the name. We know it's a flaming star now. You see this blue? There's blue in what? Yeah.
Reflection nebula.
Right. You see reflection nebulae in here because whenever you see an emission nebula, it's hydrogen gas emitting the red color, like me, like my face. 9 times out of 10, that gas is mixed with dust, interstellar dust, and sometimes the interstellar dust is more dominant over the hydrogen gas, so you have a faint diffuse red nebula and a bright blue nebula. Sometimes it's the opposite. The emission nebula there's more concentrations of hydrogen, and we see less of the reflective components, except in areas where it's overwhelming the emission. And you can see in this case that it's mixed in. You're literally watching two different types of nebulae form for two different reasons. So the reflection nebulae, the bright stars, light is being scattered by dust particles, really, really fine dust particles, and they scatter the blue light. Just like in a volcanic sunset, the dust particles in the sky scatter the sunlight, making the sun look yellow, because the blue light gets scattered. It's why we have a blue sky. It's why sunsets look red. All that. Well, same thing in the universe out millions of light years away, thousands of light years away in this case, that we see blue as well for the same reason. It's scattering the high frequency or blue light. That's the dust. In our atmosphere, the atoms of nitrogen and oxygen do that. This is pretty.
It is.
And when it's focused, it actually looks prettier. There's so much going on that you can see a lot better.
Well, I forgot to ask while I was gone and you were focusing. Did that seem to help things?
Yeah, look.
Yeah,
see how it looks. This looks beautiful. I will tell you this, guys. Even though we have the moon out right now, this is the best view of the flaming star that we've ever had. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And we stacked 10 of these. Not bad.
Thank God for filters.
Yeah. And the more you zoom in, the more you can see some of the noise. But look, though, that's really pretty. Really nice. Maybe Vera will go back and listen to it. She'll hear that we were talking about it and giving her compliments. Not bad. This is really pretty. We'll get a few more of these because I want to get rid of some more of this noise. But here it is from a distance now. Look at that. Not bad for having a moon out, huh?
Yeah.
Especially a bright moon. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's go to 50%. All right, we're just gonna get rid of this. All right, there we go. Now, let's do this. Let's try to push it a little bit. Okay, and that'll brighten up the detail, and then let's actually darken the background just a tiniest bit more. And this is all kind of done on the fly, so there we go. Let's see how that works. Nice.
Uh-huh.
Not bad. And then there's another nebula down here that continues down lower. So that's pretty. Very pretty.
The bright star there is called Aurigae.
This guy right here.
Energizing the nebula, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Aurigae is a charioteer. He may be one of a couple of charioteers, depending on who you believe. But he's just carrying an adult goat over his left shoulder and a couple of baby goats in his left arm. Some say the goat's name was Amalthea, who was the goat who nursed Zeus when he was a baby. Still doesn't explain why. Yes.
And the name of a most amazing little moon around Jupiter. Yep.
Still doesn't really explain why the charioteer is carrying the goats.
No.
Anyway.
That's all right. Okay, so that's what I was suspecting. Okay, this star, AE Aurigae, this guy right here, is one of the hottest stars in the universe. Well, not quite. It's almost a B-type star in a sense, in temperature-wise, but it's an O-type star. It's a very, very hot star. A lot of its energy is being given off in the ultraviolet, which is why we see energized nebulae for such a distance away from the star. It's really quite phenomenal. Similarly, we have another object that's like that, and I think with 15 stacked, we'll let it go to 16, and then we'll stop it. All right. So at this point, we've got 16. Now we'll pause it, and we'll save it, and then we'll save it exactly as seen. We've now saved the raw file, and we'll save it exactly as seen. If you want to know where the database is, you look in our description of the stream, and it's right up there at the top. It's a link to our live database. It's 24 hours, and Daryl maybe would be kind enough to actually put that link in if he could, maybe.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'll put it in the chat.
No worries, no rush. But we're going to go to another object now, which I am just as excited about, especially after seeing how well this is coming out. First things first, though, we're getting rid of this stack, and we're going to go to 1 second and give us our nice hypered view again, and then we come back to our planetarium, zoom out, and then we're going to go right nearby. We're not going far, but we're going to go right here. Okay, that's the California Nebula, and I think we should be able to get to it at this position. It's sort of between the Flaming Star and the Pleiades where we were. So here we go. Let's check it out. So the telescope's going to move a little bit. There it goes. I'm not sure which star it's going to go to. It might go back to Zeta Persei.
We're going California Nebula?
Sure.
Okay.
It's right at the... Yeah, see, it's actually going to...
Yeah.
Is it Zeta Persei there? Or Epsilon Persei. I think it's Epsilon Persei. I don't know why it doesn't go to Menkib. I guess maybe because it's just not one of its database stars. Thank you, Daryl, for putting up that server.
Sure.
And now we come back in here, and the telescope's heading toward this amazing nebula, which we're at 50%, so you can't really see it yet. But when I go back to full size, that is to say, the other full frame fitting here.
I remember looking this up before. That star in Menkib you showed in Stellarium is the star that's actually energizing the California Nebula.
Yeah.
And Menkib is another tremendously bright star.
That's right.
Very hot star.
Yep. So, what's funny is, okay, we don't see the nebula very well right now because we have light pollution. We actually have the light pollution from the moon. But, thank you, Sean. But all we have to do is move ourselves down a little bit. Alright. That, and you can see something's moving through the field, right? In terms of an object. And this is actually part of the California Nebula. And you can't really see it too well right now. But have faith, because you'll see it momentarily. Again, we're going to do a 45-second exposure and take off our hybrid mode. And the reason I take it off is because it's going to add a tremendous brightness to our live stack. And I usually don't do that. This is the Flaming Star we're going to clear now. That is up there on the that is up there on the database on the server. Thanks, Sean. Sean Farmer.
California Nebula was discovered by E. Barnard in 1884.
Oh, yeah. E. Barnard, as most of you have heard us talk about before, you may not remember, is the guy who also put together a catalog of dark nebula. And there it is. It's beautiful. The noise goes away, and this is Menkib right here. This is the star that's actually powering it. And one thing you notice is Menkib, very, very hot, very, very powerful star. Well, these stars have strong stellar winds which blow dust and gas away from each other, away from themselves. You'll notice there's a curve here. This curvature could very well be because Menkib is radiating this stuff out, of course, in every direction. So we're actually possibly seeing that. And you notice how it's sort of bunched up in some places. These might be areas in the interstellar medium where we're watching the gas around Menkib being pushed up against more gas and becoming denser, which is why we see knots of bright areas, which is more hydrogen gas. So that's possible. The universe is an amazing place. Absolutely amazing place.
Menkib is a lot bigger than the sun. It's over 250,000 times brighter than the sun. Yeah. It's an O-class star, 07, and that's why it's lighting up the California Nebula.
Yeah. Now, we always talk about these O-class stars, and you think, well, there's got to be a lot of them. Actually, they're very rare. You know, they're somewhat rare. Okay, the most populous star in the galaxy and in the universe, for that matter, is the M-type stars. They're cool little red stars, and they're littering this image. You can see many of them in this image, and see these little tiny red dots? Those are M-class stars, in all likelihood. But this is the beautiful California Nebula. Let me color correct as well. Here we go. Get rid of that haze. Okay. And Ronald is here. Hey, Ronald.
Barnard was he was one of the pioneers of astrophotography.
Oh yeah.
And I have to guess this is how he discovered the California Nebula, and also probably discovered a lot of the or all of the dark nebula he found.
Yeah, well, I mean, he could have been looking for dark nebula too, and saw this, and then It's like, wow. Oh, I actually probably saw this as a result of capturing this.
Yeah. I mean, Barnard discovered the Horsehead too, didn't he?
Yeah, Barnard 33.
Huh.
B33 is the Horsehead Nebula.
Yep.
David Schmidt, welcome to you. You're probably the most distant viewer of our streams, David. You're over in Thailand. You're exactly on the opposite side of the planet from us. More exactly. It's incredible.
You can only be halfway around the world.
That's true. That's right, because if someone's 3/4 of the way around the world, they're actually 1/4 of the way away from you.
Yep.
And David's like, 2 days in a row, I'm loving it. That's fantastic. Yep, 12 hours ahead. Yep, of us, yep. We're East Coast right now. Telescope's West Coast, basically, it's in Arizona, so it's 2 hours behind me, and the time in the telescope is 21 hours 43 minutes. It's 9:43 there. It's 11:43 here, and it's 11:43 in the morning for you, which is kind of interesting. See, when we start doing our live streams, David, we're like kind of almost coincident with the times when you could actually use us to teach a class for you again, you know? The scope's out there with the Roadrunner and the Coyotes. That's right. Beep, beep. Roadrunner, if he catches you, you're through.
Don't forget to set your clocks back before you go to bed tonight.
Yeah. Wait, aren't we supposed to wake up in the middle of the night and do it?
Well, if you want to be that way, sure.
I don't.
Set your clocks ahead, that is, if I said back.
Yeah, you did. That's alright.
Spring ahead, fall back.
That's right.
I hate daylight savings time.
I know. Well, okay, this, I'm pushing this now to help bring out some details. So check out the colors, guys. Look at this. Look at that. What colors in this nebula, huh? Beautiful, expansive nebula. It's stunning. That's almost worth just doing this. Here, come here, you. You know, and then increase the size here a little bit. Let's go up to 50%. And then take it down a notch. These lines, yeah, I know. These lines are artifacts in the sensor that are only there when the moon is out. And I will be addressing those when I head out to the building again in a month or so. What an amazing place this is. That's really something. Oh yeah, nice, nice, nice. David Schmidt says lots of light pollution here, and none of them do astronomy, so no one has a scope. Yours would be the best views they've ever seen. That might make someone get a scope. And I have seen people take images in light polluted skies that are as good as what you see here. And it's because they use special filters.
Yep.
So it's all possible. And we'll be happy to show you how to do it. Hey, David, maybe you can start an astronomy club there. And they'll say, astronomy, what's that? I have my sodium vapor lamp colored sky here. You know? But not if you can peer through that haze with a filter. And when you see what's really up there, well, look, this is what's really up there. You know?
Sabian Hassenfelder did a nice article on light pollution today. I sent you that.
Oh, Sabine. That okay, yes. Okay, that's the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Preacher to the choir, I guess, but it was good, and she details it pretty well, the whys and wherefores. She talks about both light pollution down here on Earth, and then she talks about Starlink and the other satellite constellations and what they're doing to the sky.
Is that the article you sent me?
Yes.
No. The other thing too is there's natural light pollution. The dust in our solar system that may very well have come from Mars in the early solar system.
She talks about that.
Which creates a zodiacal light that we see 2 times a year. That is natural light pollution. The moon is natural light pollution.
Yeah.
We also have sky glow. Sky glow, where the oxygen atoms and nitrogen atoms during the day absorb energy, and at night they radiate this energy off softly, and that radiation comes in the form of light. So we see a greenish glow in the night sky sometimes, and it will be sky glow. Now it's possible that we've captured sky glow in some of our images but don't know it because we correct it away. It's nothing you want to have because it's an ugly artifact you want to get rid of. But if you do a wide angle shot, you can see some of the nitrogen sky glow, oxygen sky glow with the stars. And it's like, wow, it's amazing to see just how much the Earth's atmosphere itself illuminates our view.
Yeah, it's not constant though. That is, it varies, day to day, night to night.
It depends on the energy of the sun. At solar minima, we don't see much of it. At solar maxima, it's really energizes the atmosphere. Okay. We've got to do this last frame here. And that'll be 16. Alright. Alright, we have 16 now, so we can pause to find the object. Okay, this is the California Nebula. Ugh. I think the nubs on my keyboard are going. California Nebula, right there. And now we can save it. That name up there is how it's going to appear actually in the server. Daryl had sent that link to you guys so you see where it was and where all the pictures go within minutes. As soon as they're taken, they get shipped up to the server and made available to you within seconds. What a beautiful nebula. Okay. And if you look where our telescope is now, let's get ourselves back. Okay, you can see our telescope's pointing way over to the west. And so it's time to bring it back and just center it back up. Alright.
David Schmidt asked about, he directed it at you. Marc, does a gas nebula like that generate its own gravity? I wonder how they stay together, question mark.
Want me to answer that?
He directed it at you, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I could chime
All
in
right.
on it.
All right. Well, keep in mind that in space, there's no gravitational concentrations other than the things that are in space making them, like the gas clouds. And the gas clouds, they are subject to forces created by the stars. The stars blow away stuff. The stars go supernova and send out shock waves. Black holes collide and send out gravitational waves and shock waves that are transmitted via light intensity, okay, and material outflow, like from a supernova. Those create shock waves of material in space. Well, so that's what causes the nebulae to be these gas clouds that you see. But we're seeing a snapshot in time. If you watch them over time, you'd see areas within the nebula compressing and coalescing. You'd see them blowing out and then compressing and coalescing into other things out here. So there's gravitational condensation, always going on. Gravitational contraction, always going on. There's gravitational or explosive expansion going on all the time in space as well. So it's a mix and match thing all the time, David. So there's nothing holding them together. They're light years across, but the stars are actually dispersing these into the further interstellar medium. So that's part of the observation we see. And you may now chime in if you wish, Daryl, if you want.
Yeah, the nebula, the gas, I mean, there's a lot of it there. And it does, of course, it has mass, so it has gravity. But it's diffuse and very thin out in space. So it's not going to hold together terribly well. And like the light pressure of that bright star Menkib, which is illuminating the nebula, will probably tend to blow it apart over time. But they do, the gas does come together and move apart. And probably a good example of that is the Orion molecular cloud.
Yep.
Maybe it has enough mass that it's doing a better job of holding itself together.
Yep. And speaking of the Orion molecular cloud, we're going to see about checking it out. Yeah. It's actually, Orion's pretty low to the horizon now, and as Daryl has mentioned before, the Orion Nebula, Rigel, actually touches the horizon very soon at midnight, and it's now 10 o'clock out there. So in 2 hours, Rigel will be touching the horizon.
Yeah, probably more like about an hour and a half for you. I went out
Probably,
right after the end of the stream last night, and 11 o'clock or just after, and Rigel was already, about to go away. It was actually, touching the mountains, which are a little above the horizon.
Yeah. Now, this star here, Cursa, there's a problem with Cursa. Cursa and Rigel have been confused in the database, not by me, but by the developers who developed this database years ago. So it puts the telescope, see where this is? Here's the Orion Nebula, and we went here. Well, it went to Cursa, but it puts us here. You see, it's a parallelogram, right? So Cursa and Rigel have been confused in the database. So when we think we're going here, all right, we're actually going here. So I'm gonna have to. I'll manually bring us back. So it's a pain. I think it's just an unspeakable oversight, but we'll deal with it.
Yeah, somebody was high.
I don't know what they were, but they weren't paying attention. Alright, so that's too far. Okay. Now we're going to head over to the west a little bit. And we should be able to see the Orion Nebula in our view here soon. Probably right now we'll see it on the right edge. And here it comes. Let's go here and slow down the scope a little bit and head west a little bit to bring in the Orion Nebula. And here it comes. This is the Orion Nebula is an interesting place because, and we've talked about this so many times, it's an area in space where there is a lot of dark nebula, right? In fact, we're going to focus only on the Orion Nebula for now, not the Running Man as well, right? And so we look in this area and we see a bright emission nebula. That's this. But we also notice there's lots and lots of dark nebula, dark dust. In fact, many, many clouds of dense dust. When we say dense, remember these are light years across, so there's only about 3,000 atoms per cubic centimeter. And you might think that sounds like a lot, but keep in mind we have 10 to the 27th, okay, atoms, 10 with 27 zeros after it, atoms in a cubic centimeter of regular air. So you can see that, you know, this is what we call rarefied gas, very, very thin gas. All right, so here's the Orion Nebula, our famous Orion Nebula, and let's drop down the gain for a minute. This is our sensitivity on the sensor. Let's drop it all the way to 0. And then we actually bring down the exposure here. Let's go to 35 milliseconds. All right. And that'll allow us to see the stars in the core. These stars that we're about to show you right here, these stars are the reason that it's glowing at all. All right. And now there's 4 stars here that are very young, very hot, called the Trapezium. And there they are. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, live view. Thank you, Sean. Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And those, again, it's pretty low to the horizon, so it's not the best view. But it looks really pretty still. You can't beat this. You know, you just can't beat the Orion Nebula. You know. And so we'll zoom back out. We'll head back up in the gain, and we'll actually increase, like I said, increase our sensitivity, increase our exposure, and end up taking a shot of the Orion Nebula then that hopefully we won't forget, because I'm going to actually go up to 330 sensitivity, and we're going to head up to let's say 45-second again exposure, and we're going to go into auto mode here, show our whole frame, all right, and then stack it. And when the moon is out, you also see a lot more noise. All right, that's the California Nebula from before. So we'll clear that. Okay. Here we go. Right, 6 seconds, 4 seconds, 2 seconds, and voila. Boom. Really bright. Okay, except that's because I have to cut my hypered shot out of the way. All right, and then have this intersect the data curves properly. There they are. Boom. And there we go. So there's the Orion Nebula. We'll actually do a color correction right here. So that's going to color correct it a little bit. Right. We're going to pull down that, which I know is not right, but we're fine. And you see there's a lot of dust out here. All this is dust. Think of the Orion Nebula as a blister on a giant cloud of black dust. It's a blister, a stellar nursery, a location where new stars are being born. And the Trapezium, those 4 stars I showed you earlier, are powering this nebula right here. This is a very, very powerful area. No life could exist inside the nebula because there's so much ultraviolet radiation. Ultraviolet radiation is deadly to organic life, carbon-based life like us. But that's something that, isn't going to be a forever thing here, because those hot young stars are going to go supernova eventually, leaving behind moderately hot stars like our sun. And the nebula will disperse, the nebula will cool, the nebula will stop glowing. The Orion Nebula is not forever. As soon as the Trapezium goes, it's probably going to shut down. And that beautiful red glow goes away at that point.
Yeah, but I bet you there will be other stars to take the place of the Trapezium, and
Oh, of course.
I bet there will be other Orion Nebulas for people in the future, as there has been in the past for our ancestors.
Yeah. And, the universe is a developing place, right? We talk about these hot blue O stars, the hottest stars in the universe, really. And we also look at the star Betelgeuse, which is the star in the upper left part of Orion, the red one. It's a red supergiant. It used to be one of these O stars. And it is now in its late stage of evolution where it's become this bloated red giant. And eventually it's going to go supernova if it hasn't already. And because everywhere we look in space is a time machine, we see the light coming from a certain time in the past for every one of the stars you see in this image. All right? For the Orion Nebula, we're seeing the light as it was 1,500 years ago. 1,500 years ago. And what does it look like now? It's probably a little different. Some of these filaments are probably moved from stellar winds that are pushing them. So there's a lot going on here. Yeah. But there we go. This has been a fun night, don't you think? Especially having a moon that as bright as it is. Not bad. These streaks again, they come in from the moon. I gotta figure out what's causing them. There is something on our lens which reduces the size of the field increases the size of our view to 4 full moons across by 3 tall. There's something on one of those lens elements that I must have missed. I don't know what it is, but it's got to be on the lens. And Ronald has a non sequitur. He says, "I saw a movie on Netflix." Oh, okay. Now I see it. Now he had to finish a sentence called "The Atom Project." Yeah, I saw that up there. Vera Lucia Campos says, "No, blow up another red giant. Please don't mess with Orion." Well, let me tell you this, Vera. The belt of Orion, the stars there are, some of them are under 4 million years old. And when our ancient ancestors were in Africa walking around in Olduvai Gorge, and in particular Lucy, Australopithecus afarensis, when Lucy looked at Orion, had she looked at Orion, she would have seen a bright, hot blue star where Betelgeuse is. Because Betelgeuse is actually only a few thousand years into its red giant stage, probably, and was an O-type star, hot and blue, before that. So it's only a few million years old as well. And the Orion's belt didn't exist, right? There was one star in Orion's belt, maybe 2, when Lucy was around. Rigel probably looked different. The only stars that were probably the same were Safe in the lower left and Bellatrix up at the upper right. Those are probably the same, and that's it. Just incredible. So you can see this blue nebula now, dark nebula, it literally isn't just a little tongue pushing over the Orion Nebula here. It's actually coming from a long distance. See that? It's a whole mess here. This whole mess. Incredible. Yep. There's a lot going on in this region of space. It's always been my favorite nebula.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Now we're going to go to 10 here and then we'll stop.
Excuse me, please. I'll be right back.
Okay. I know this is some of you are having a grand time. I'm having a good time here with you as well. This is fun. Okay, I paused it and I'll change the name now to M42, the Orion Nebula. There we go. Emission Nebula, Reflection Nebula. This is Reflection Nebula here. This is that scattered light nebula that you see. And it's the blue light that you normally see. The red is the emission nebula from those hot stars ionizing the hydrogen gas that's in the nebula. Okay, so now I can save it. And you'll see the green bar go across. And then save it exactly as seen. Cool. Now we can clear it and get rid of the stack. Go back to 1 second. All right. And now to get an idea of just how bright it is out there, I want to show you with the moon. When the moon is out in a dark sky, the moon dominates. So where it's dominating now, and it's only just past first quarter. But let me give you an idea of just how bad it is. All right, so this is going to be accessing our all-sky camera. All right, and we're going to go to our settings here, and I'm going to look at the exposure time. All right, for our settings, I think it's 15 seconds. No, it's 3,000. Okay, it's 3 seconds. Let's take it to 15 seconds. All right.
Uh-oh. Something happened?
Oh, no. No, I just have the all-sky cam. I'm going to show them the all-sky.
Oh.
So, I know, right? It's like, oh. And so we're going to just do one acquisition, and this will be where our 15-second frame will show up. Okay. Did I not save it? It looks like a 3-second shot. I must have not saved it. I probably didn't say the right. I did. I said 15, but I didn't say 15,000. Because it's actually in milliseconds. So I had 15 milliseconds, which is a very, very short exposure. Okay, sorry about that. I should know better. Now, when we do this, you'll actually see this show up the way it should. So one acquisition, you'll see it counting down up here. Here's where it's counting down. Okay, or counting up, I should say. And that's the moon in the 15 millisecond shot. All right. Hey, rascally rabbit. Oh, look at that. That's bird poopy. And so is that. Yeah, that's the other part. The other problem with this domed camera. Makes a great perch for birds. I need to put a wiper on there. Get a windshield washer and just, and wash it. Actually, that'd be really easy to implement.
Well, you could use that stuff like they do on race cars. They just...
Oh, yeah, that's right. So the continuous wipe thing?
No, it's like it's covered with plastic strips. They just pull one off and expose another one.
Okay. Because I've watched when on the race cars, I've seen they get something on it and they just rotate it to the side, and I guess it goes through squeegees or something. It's pretty complicated but cool. Here it says all she hears is samba. Is that samba music where she is?
Must be.
Oh, that's why she says I'm frustrated.
They're
Don't worry,
partying
Vera.
down.
But notice how, okay, normally we see the gorgeous night sky, many, many thousands of stars, and it is just, as you can see, it's just not that good tonight. Hey, Science Bob. Mark, how did that wiper go again? Oh, yeah. Okay, so as you can see, obviously, we've got a bright moon, but even so, we've still been able to capture some gorgeous stuff. You know, so it's really quite nice. All right, and now let's actually just do one more object here. Okay, it's going to be two more objects. It's going to be this one. This is kind of cool, and I'm going to... Alright, and it's going to be right there. So let's bring that up. First of all, take us back to our slower rate.
13th Perl.
Yep. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this, as Daryl just alluded to. This is little tiny nebulas, the 13th Perl. Really pretty. A lot going on here, and I will show you specifically what I'm talking about by zooming in on it now.
No, sorry, I don't mean to steal your thunder.
No, it's fine.
Surprise.
It's okay. But you notice this is an interesting little glow going on here. And you'll see better when we do a time shot, a time exposure of it. Right? And this will be a... I'm going to go to only 15 seconds. The reason is because it's so easy to overexpose this in our system. You know, it's really bright. So let's do that. And you're going to see this beautiful little nebula with a tiny little T of darkness around it. And I think that might actually be a gap and not a dark nebula. In this 13th Perl, this is one of those rare cases where there might actually be a void in the stars. Remember that, Daryl?
What you say rings a bell. They think it's actually looking clean through to the far side of it, correct?
Yeah.
There's like a hole in it or something.
Yeah. Rare. It's rare.
Yeah. Well, Vera beat me to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got rid of panko chicken there. Yeah, see, even this is too much of an exposure time, because there's another little segment on this right here. So I'm actually gonna drop this down to 6 seconds for fun, and I will take the stack and clear it and start again. Start again. All right, so let's do it again now. It might, I don't know if that's actually good or not. I'll wait and see.
Has a certain hole-like quality to it.
It does.
It did.
Yeah. Well, what I need to do is I need to first let's color correct get this color corrected a little better. There we go. And now we can see the T, and you'll see it better when I do this. Okay. And maybe when I do this. Yeah, maybe. So you can see that now. You can see there's like a vertical part here. Then there's like a little other piece that makes like a T. And what we're missing, though, is the fact that there's more going on. And there's a dark cloud all around this. And it peeks through on the other side. Right, and let's do another exposure. Let's do a 45-second exposure here. It's gonna blow this right out, but it's gonna show you the rest of the detail, I hope, around it, and that's pretty cool. So we'll clear it now. See, unlike the human eye, where you can see all these differences, you have this greater dynamic range. Daryl's talked about it before as well. Your eye can pick up all the subtle differences in brightness, but the telescope sensor can't. It's stupid. It just sees brightness and it lets it accumulate. Your eyes don't allow the data to accumulate. Okay, in other words, you can't take a time exposure with your eyes. That'd be kind of cool if you could. You know? Alright, let's see this now.
Doesn't the eye take what you call a time exposure? Yeah, it's a very short one, though. It's like less than a second, 4/10 of a second or something. It can integrate it can integrate a little bit.
It can't take a time exposure like a camera.
Right.
It takes time for the signal to process in your brain, and I think the time that it takes is like 10 milliseconds or something like that. So, you know, obviously light is continuous as far as our eyes are concerned, but it's not like you can actually take a 10-second shot with your eyes.
Yeah. What's the term I'm thinking of? It may be something else. Persistence of vision? That ring any bells?
Yeah, that's actually the persistence of vision. Is that actually the problem where you have latent images in your eye?
Maybe that's
latent
it.
images. All right, let me try to color correct this green out of here. See if we can see. All right, on a moonless night, I can. This shows better. Well, anyway, normally we see some additional blue nebulae over here, which is the other side of this nebula, and there's a dust cloud that crosses over, and we'd have to wait quite a while for this one. But I don't think we'll even save this one. This is not worth saving tonight. And we're rapidly approaching a point where we have to wait for the full moon and past the full moon. So this might be the last stream for a few days anyway. Which is okay.
Persistence of vision traditionally refers to the optical illusion that occurs when visual perception of an object does not cease for some time after the rays of light proceeding from it have ceased to enter the eye.
Yeah, that's the latent imagery.
Yeah.
That's the latent image process.
Retinal persistence. Persistence of impressions.
I have a weird thing that happens to me. And actually, ever since my surgery, I mean, everybody watching the stream knows I was profoundly blind 6.5 years ago, and I learned to get my vision back with by teaching my brain how to see again. Well, one of the things it also taught me was how to, and this is weird, and I don't know how else to explain it, but I can close my eyes and still see. I've gotten up in the middle of the night and walked, over the dog on the floor because I see her on the floor, but I step over her, but my eyes are fully closed. And I navigate to the bathroom. There's some other information that I'm getting that came from that whole experience, and along with having to learn how to walk and talk and see again, and get everything working again, I got some other weird, I don't know if you call them gifts, curses, whatever, but it happened since then, and it's been very strange. So I'm pretty interested in doing research on that, figure out what's going on there. Let's see if I can get this to do anything. Okay. Oh, Izabela, you didn't miss it. Don't worry about it. I'm glad you're here, though.
Hi, Izabela.
You didn't miss it, Izabela. It's okay. Good morning, Izabela. And by the way, thank you for doing the table of contents for last night's stream. That was very nice of you. Let's bring this over some more. Bring our dark level over to try and show some of this detail in here a little better. That's a little better, and I can actually push this to get more detail out. That's a little too much. This is the object we've been taking the photograph of. And there's those streaks, again, artifacts. They're gonna go. I'll get rid of those. Oh, but you can see the blue nebulae now. These are the blue nebulae, and this is that piece here that's in front of the blue nebula. Science Bob, yes, I heard of that. Some people wanted to have, talk to me about that. And it's like, I can't put any science to this. It's additional, we're getting additional messages from our surroundings, and like, for instance, when I was blind and I was a quadriplegic, my hearing was hypersensitive, and I could hear people talking rooms away. As soon as I was able to walk again, I didn't have any hypersensitive hearing. It went away. So that was pretty interesting. So it came and it went, but the seeing with my eyes closed is something that that has been persistent. That hasn't stopped, and I don't understand it.
Well, maybe it almost be like a echolocation or something.
I was thinking the same thing, but I think it's I'll say it this way: photolocation. Being able to receive photons with other than the eyes as receivers, and building some kind of image. It's just building an image with just a stray photons. But it works in darkness too. And it works in light as well. But like I could be in the shower and have soap on my face, and turn right around and grab the soap out of the soap dish, grab the washcloth that I can see hanging over the top of the thing, and wash my face. It's as if I have my eyes open, and I just realized, I guess that was one of those cases again. So it's very interesting. I think it's really fascinating.
Yeah. No, I wondered some. I'll get up at night sometimes, and I don't bother turning on the lights or anything. I can actually find my way around pretty well in the dark. It's it's almost like I've got location mapped or something.
We have that too, for sure.
You know, like
Yeah, we have that. We have that too.
there's a doorknob right here, and there's a towel rack right there, and find my way around in the dark.
Yeah. Well, we know our homes very well, but the real test comes is when something that you don't know, and if it's somewhere you're not familiar with.
Right.
And I was doing those tests here. I'm familiar with my house, but I'm not familiar with every square inch. So I'd sit in the dark and I'd close my eyes and I would just try to sense where things were. And say, okay, there's a shape over here. I'm not sure what it is, but I know there's a shape here. And I don't try to build an image based on memory. I try to just sense what it might be. I just think this is just an ability that we have as humans that we have not refined yet. And people might say it's a paranormal thing, but you know what? I can tell you this. Today's paranormal can be tomorrow's science. We've seen it before.
Yeah.
So here's our blue nebulas now that are being caused by the star that's causing this, probably. And it's deep inside this nebula. Very cool. Alright, I'll save this, even though it's not really a good shot with the moon and with these artifacts on it. There's 13th Pearl. Okay. But we'll pause this at 14. And we'll save it. And then we'll save it exactly as seen. And it will go up to the server in seconds. Izabela says, Mark, can you see the stars and nebula with closed eyes? No, that's odd. I haven't ever looked to see if I can. It's got to be something three-dimensional. And the stars are just a two-dimensional projection for us as humans. It's on the dome of the sky, so to speak. I don't see that. I don't see three-dimensionality. I see objects on a desk. I see things, but I don't see that. So there's limitations,
You ever seen true absolute darkness?
No. When I was blind, I actually didn't see. Again, having been sighted at that point, I knew what to look for, because what does a truly profoundly blind person see with no retinal nerves? No optic nerve.
Right.
I had optic nerves. So what I saw was like a dark gray, basically I saw like a flat field photo that we take here. It's just all gray with like modeled shapes to it that didn't ever change. I was looking at the scars in the visual center in the brain. I can tell you they were certain I was never going to see again. They made it clear. It was matter of fact. That's how it was stated. And I told them, no, I'm going to see just fine, because I knew I was going to get better. I knew I could make this work, get my brain fixed. And so I started pursuing that, and instead of as they wanted me to be in the hospital 8 to 10 weeks in the rehab to just, get some semblance of something back, whatever. And I told them, 8 to 10 weeks? No, that doesn't work for me, because I got to be in Los Angeles at a conference speaking. And they couldn't believe I was saying that. And it's like, well, yeah, I'm going to be speaking at a conference. And the guy said, do you really know what happened to you? Yeah. Anyway, I made the conference. I'm in Connecticut. I flew to LA on my own. It was fine. I could see again. And then since then I was slowly improving other aspects of the vision, but there's one little nagging spot that I could not fix. Or chose not to fix. I don't know. Tiny little spot.
I've seen absolute darkness. When I worked in the mine, There were
There
times
you go.
you could turn your
Wow.
headlamp off, your miner's lamp, and surprisingly, you could still see light sometimes. So, it'd get really dark, but there were still light sources, and they might be around corners or something. But
Hmm.
there were times we were down in the very bottom end of the mine, as far back in as we could get and away from everything. You turned your light off, and I mean, it was just dead black, absolutely
Wow.
black. And that's really eerie.
Wow. It could be unnerving too. And you couldn't wait to turn your light back on because you'd never get out. You'd have to follow a wall or something. And it's not, if it goes around a corner or something, you don't know which path you're in. You'd die down there. You'd
Yep.
never get out. Thank you, Pharma. Very kind, Sean. Thank you. Okay, well, this image is been saved. It's up there, I think. I'll save it again anyway, just to make sure. I believe I did it already. Hey, Curtis Horns here. How you doing, Curtis? You're here just as we're closing up, and that's now you guys know. This is the last object for tonight. We did about 6 or so objects. It was kind of fun. But anyway, I hope that you guys will have a good night. Thanks for coming in. Sorry, Curtis, you missed it. Unless you had been watching the whole time, which is cool. And we'll be back in a few days. We're gonna wait until the moon is past full a few days to, and then we'll be back with you all. All right. So check out P&K Space Imaging if you want to look at the moon. They'll be probably going online hopefully tomorrow night or so. We'll see. And I hope that you guys will come back again. I want to thank you for being part of the Sky Tour live stream family. You guys are awesome. I feel like I know you, and wouldn't have it any other way. So once again, thank you guys, and we will be back soon enough. So we'll see you later.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night, everybody. This really is a beautiful picture, Daryl. Overall, I think it's really pretty.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys, you have a good night, and we'll be back soon. So long.
Thanks for having me on. Good night,
Oh,
everybody.
absolutely. Good night, guys.